Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar sponsored by Vagaro, our favorite salon software program, which I hope you are all using. And if you're not, get on it right now because is it not probably the most efficient program out there right now?
I believe it is.
There you go. From the words of an expert, ladies and gentlemen. This is Catherine and Aileen from the Profitable Salon Owner, where our mission is to get salon owners profitable fast. And you can see here we are, the two lovely blondes carrying our favorite book, which of course is our manual. And of course, Catherine and I have done an awful lot of research into the business of the salon and spa, and we really believe that we have some key secrets to what's going on in this business. And today we are going to talk to you about something that is extremely important, which is the salon owner secrets for conducting the perfect interview every single time. Because let's face it, staffing is always the greatest challenge that faces any salon owner, whether you live in a big city or you run a two-chair salon in a rural area, or even if you're a chair renter who is looking to hire an assistant to start working because you're getting so busy working behind the chair.
And let's face it, you can only do so much with one set of hands. I've never seen a stylist that was able to use their hands and their feet at the same time. So sometimes we have to hire someone to help us do that.
Exactly. And, when we do that, we all want to hire that perfect employee, someone who's loyal, attractive, eager, attentive, available at all hours, and of course, always willing to work weekends and evenings. And of course, let's throw in a halo or two.
And which fantasy land are you living in this morning, Aileen?
Well, sometimes that's true. But, most of the time, we're caught off guard in our business.
Yes,
someone quits unexpectedly and we need to find another employee immediately.
So secret number one is?
Always be in hiring mode.
Yes.
Because, we often hire the first person who walks through the door without ever going through a proper interview process.
Yeah, because they're living and they breathe and they have two hands.
Yeah, exactly.
And yes, they said they can do hair.
Right. So they walk in, you give them an interview, and every interviewee seems perfect, and it often is. And you hire them, and the first week it's great, and then what happens?
Well, reality sets in.
Exactly. And everyone's true colors float to the surface, and what seemed like such a good fit at the very beginning is now a nightmare waiting to happen. And now you've got that problem of divesting yourself of that employee.
Yes, which is always the fun part of any of our missions, isn't it?
It is indeed.
But I mean, there's a few things to know before you even start into the hiring process is, one of the things I always ask people, know what you really want in an employee.
Well, I think that's the number one thing that you have to really, really think about because going to that secret is always be in the hiring mode. It is the most important thing that you can do for your business, right? Is to make sure that you have an ongoing sort of stable of resumes, et cetera, that you want. But as Catherine said, before you really get there, you have to really think about that person that you want to work in your salon.
Yeah, because really think, what is your salon personality? Every salon has a distinct personality. We're in and out of salons all day, every day, and I will tell you, there are so many different salon personalities out there that I think you have to really sit back and think about who are we? What type of person best speaks to our personality?
Exactly. And here's the thing, if you have not gone out to take a look at salons around you or in your city or in other cities, you won't know what your own salon personality is like. Because believe me, wherever you are, your salon has a distinctive feeling when you walk in.
Yeah. So, we've been in salons where every single stylist in the salon is funky, tattooed, pierced.
Yep.
So to drop somebody in there that is so completely diverse would be a real challenge.
Exactly. I mean, you may have, like a mature woman coming in who, say, maybe has specialized in the perm culture or whatever. Is this person really going to suit your salon personality?
Yeah. Or,
and by the same token, is the youngster just out of school spotting, funky blue hair and jean shorts going to work out in a high-end salon catering to the professional. So you've got to really figure out what your salon personality is.
Absolutely. And then the other one, Aileen, is, do you have a culture within the salon? And maybe you can explain a little bit more about what culture in the salon looks like.
It's funny because you and I hear the word culture bandied about a lot when it comes to the salon and spa industry. But what Catherine and I really mean by a culture is, have you determined from your salon personality how your salon is going to operate? Because everyone that we know has some kind of parameters for their salon. Of course, we recommend that you put it into what we call policies and procedures and create a written handbook that creates your culture. So in other words, you're going to be able to determine your hours of operation, say if you've got a dress code, how you want your salon to run, all of those things. And the whole concept creates this culture because your employees will fall into whatever it is that you're expecting them to do. So that's what we're referring to when we're talking about a culture.
And then the other one is, do you have a certain age group within the salon? And as we touched on that with the first one, is sometimes it's really difficult to put a very young stylist into a salon where it's all stylists in their 50s. It just sometimes doesn't work well. Again, you can blend them. It depends on the person, but you have to know what age group you're looking to hire.
Exactly. I mean, we've certainly seen in our travels a mixing of ages. So that's not, we're not saying don't do it. We're just saying that you need to know whether it's going to be the right fit or not.
Exactly.
And of course, when you're looking at that, the most important thing that you can determine when it comes to your salon and who you really are is, who's your client?
Yeah.
What's your client demographic?
And that's always interesting to me because we ask that question all the time. And people say, oh, well, we do everyone. We do everyone from, we have, little toddlers come in to 90-year-olds. Well, that's great. Yeah. I'm sure we all have a variety of people who come in our door. But when we're asking about your specific client demographic, I'm asking about the clients who make up the bulk of your income. So essentially, and we have a comment, this is very true. Are there ever any instances in which a large gap in age group makes things uncomfortable for more mature clients, especially in terms of conversation topics that goes on? And
holy smoly, is that ever a big one?
Yeah.
Because, this is something that Kath and I have talked about because we've heard all sorts of problems, particularly let's say in the middle-aged group.
Yeah. And a lot of times, I mean, I know in my own salon, we cater to everyone. We have a little bit of everybody coming in our door, but who we focus on are business women and baby boomers. And so, yes, we do have younger stylists in our salon, but we have to teach them how to speak to the business women and to those baby boomers.
Yeah.
There are certain topics that are off limit but we have to teach them how to speak.
Yeah. And if you've followed any of our previous webinars, you'll know we've actually done a whole segment on dialogue and conversation because there's certain things that are totally inappropriate to talk about in the salon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we won't go there today.
Just a quick note here on client demographic, because I feel really strongly about this, Catherine. If you don't know what your client demographic is and who your client is, you need to be putting out a client survey. You need to ask your client who they are. Yes, you're going to have, if you look at a survey on what they call a bell curve, you're going to see that lots of people fall outside the generalization. But generally speaking, you're going to find most of the clients that come to your salon are going to fall within a certain category, but you are never going to know unless you ask. So ask.
Yep. So find out, and really and Vigaro gives you the ability to check all of those things. You can see where, who's spending the most money with you, and that usually will determine, it will usually fall in. It could be, people in their 30s that have highlights that make up the bulk of your client base. So that's where your marketing should go. And that's who you should, when you're hiring somebody, you should be looking for somebody that's able to do that type of client. So client demographic, very important.
You got it. Okay.
So basically, before you can figure out who you need to figure out who you are. And that, honestly, is the crux of the situation.
Exactly. And, I think if you actually, pop to the next slide, Kath, I think it makes all the difference, because what makes your business different? What are you doing to differentiate yourself from every other salon and spa out there?
Oh, no kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, in the end, it's about personality, location, culture. What are the things that truly make your business different? And it's really important for you to determine that, because if you want to bring someone into the salon and start being, someone who hires people on a regular basis, you have to be able to tell the person that you're going to hire why they would want to work for you.
Exactly.
So
here's a list of, just some of our ideas of what you need to know about yourself. Number one.
Do you have a career path in place for your staff?
Yeah, and what do we mean by a career path?
A career path is definitely how you're, say you're hiring someone, a brand new junior, to come in and they're going to learn the business. What kind of steps have you set up for them to grow as a staff member in your place? What do they have to do to get their first raise? What do they have to do to earn a certain amount of money? What are you going to do to nurture that stylist from being a junior into developing them into one of your senior staff members? Because it takes planning, people. Planning. Career path takes planning.
And it doesn't have to be really difficult. It can be, a very simple process. And I know in our book that we've written, we have a whole section that talks about career path, because when you hire someone, they want to know that there's a progression.
Right. Because do you want to go to work for someone and you say, well, gee, I'd really like to work here in your salon. It looks really nice. Well, that's great, because what you're going to do is you're going to cut a bob for the next 20 years. Okay, gee, I'm really excited about that.
And your pay's not going to go up, and your prices aren't going to go up, because trust me, there are places that happen.
Yes.
So we want to be more forward thinking. You have to have a career path in place, and you have to let them know when they come in, for an interview, exactly what your expectations are.
Yeah.
So, and how will you develop your staff and encourage growth? Like, what are you willing to do to develop your staff and to encourage growth? Are you willing to take time out from your work schedule and put some time into your staff? What I mean by that is sit down with them on a monthly or bi-monthly basis and go over their career path.
Well, and not to toot anybody's horn, but I'm going to toot Catherine's horn here, because I think she's done an incredible job of developing a career path for her staff in her salon. She has a very, very large salon community in Winnipeg, and they have not only developed a career path, they have also developed a level called shareholders, where she actually trains people to move into leadership and management, and perhaps even becoming shareholders within her company. So you can start with a junior and take them all the way up to salon owners. I think that really sets you apart from anybody else in not only your city, but from probably the majority of salons that we're in and out of every day. One of the things that we're working so hard to do is to help salons do things like that.
Well, to understand the development of, how you can develop people and keep them long term. So
yeah,
I think that is a key requisite these days, because we know that people come in and change fairly frequently.
Absolutely. You got it. I always laugh because, you know, in all the years I've been out on the road going from salon to salon, I run into stylists who, you know, 1 week they're in one salon, another week they're in somebody else's salon, and maybe 6 months down the road they're in the third salon. And I think, okay, well, what's going on here? Why is this happening? Because, you know, first of all, that staff member that's traveling around, you know, they're taking all sorts of baggage with them. They're never growing, they're never developing or whatever. But why are they being hired from place to place? Like, what are we missing here?
Because most salon owners are desperate for staff.
There you go.
And we hear it all the time. For sure. That's one of the number one questions we get. Where, if it's not where can we find, we need new customers, it's like we need new staff immediately.
Yeah. But if you're forward thinking and you do some of the things that Catherine and I are talking about today, you will always be in hiring mode, and you will never have to worry about where your staff is coming from, because you have to think forward. So one of the questions that you need to be able to answer to an interview is, do you offer education?
Yeah. So, and if you do, how much education? So basically, you know, are you offering weekly classes? Are you bringing education into the salon, every third month? What does that look like? Know how much education you expect your staff.
Right, and do you expect them to do extracurricular education? If you have a regular ongoing education in the salon, but you also expect them to go out and see and do other things.
Yeah, and how many times a year if you do? You know, there might be, one of the things that we say is we want them to take 2 outside classes per year out of what we offer, and we offer a lot of in-salon education. So, you know, and again, so that in the what kind of education in salon, out of your salon. So you need to understand what you want before you can talk and tell them what
exactly
you are going to offer.
And also when it comes to education, is it technical or is it motivational or is it business development?
Right.
Because there's all sorts of different kinds of education that we can certainly use to develop our staff with.
And one thing I will say, and I do find, is that, yes, we give lots of technical education. I think we need to put more emphasis onto business development education.
Well, of course, you know me, I have to absolutely agree, because the most important thing that we can do is to have our service providers understand what drives our business and what their part in that is.
Yep. Hear, hear.
Hear, hear. And next, you need to be able to tell your future employees what their pay structure is. Are you going to pay them?
Only if you can. Yeah, and this is probably one of the most important things is what's your pay structure. And we all pay differently. There's so many different compensation plans out there. We can't get into that today, but you need to have that well laid out in any literature that you have before you start interviewing anyone.
And believe me, if you're talking about commission structure, please make sure that you truly understand your books and you know how much your commission should be looked at. Of course, Catherine and I are huge fans of hourly plus commission. And if you're interested in that, do send us an email. We'll give you some information at the end that you can contact us on that. But make sure that you are able to communicate very clearly to your potential staff member how you're going to pay them, when your paydays are, etc. In fact, that feeds right into the next note. What about the holidays, work hours, benefits, all that are part of your pay structure?
Yeah, all of that should be written down, and you should know it. Which holidays you take off, what they will be paid for, how many hours you expect them to work. And I mean, it could be, some people consider 32 hours a full-time employment.
Yeah.
Other people expect you to work 40 hours as full-time employment. And then what benefits? And, benefits is going to be different all across the board. Here in Canada, I think our people are fairly spoiled when it comes to benefits, because we absolutely have to pay vacation pay, stat holiday pay,
of which there's 10 a year now.
I think there's 10 stat holidays a year now. So to me, that's a benefit. Those are benefits. So we have to pay vacation pay and stat holiday pay. Some people pay a portion of insurance. I personally don't recommend that unless they're a much bigger organization.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I think we have to be really careful in this industry about what we take on as benefits, because it can spiral out of control.
Yeah, we've seen that one, haven't we?
Yeah.
In the end, you've got to ask yourself this question. Why would someone want to work with you? Because we go right back to what makes you different from any other business in town. Why would someone want to work with you? I need to be really clear about this, because when you're interviewing, remember, service providers basically, they're going from business to business because everybody's looking for staff. So you've got to be able to sell them on working for you. So this is all about selling in the end. You've got to sell yourself, and you've got to sell your business.
Well, and we do that every single day behind our chair. We sell ourselves. So again, when you're meeting with someone and interviewing, it's all about selling yourself. And, Susie said it's a good idea to have everything down on paper. It will prevent any confusion or disagreements later on. I believe that everything has to be written down on paper.
Here.
And then it is signed off on. So it covers you. Oh, it covers both of you, like the person you're hiring and you, but everything should be written down and signed if you decide to take this person on as an employee.
Exactly, because when you bring somebody on, say things don't go exactly the way you want, and every time you have somebody working for you, there's always going to be some kind of contretemps along the lines, right? But if you've got something in writing, you can go back and say, look, when we hired you, here's the structure that we offered you, et cetera, and show me where you're misunderstanding what we're bringing to the table.
Yeah, and that's something we've learned along the way. Document everything.
Jessica.
Will there be sufficient time to cover use of the Vagaro software and the iPad interface?
Probably not today, Jessica, but Susie, can you help out with Jessica on that one? Perhaps you've got a webinar coming up on that. Thank you. Okay, next. The biggest thing is, of course, Kathy, I have to go back.
Oh, I jumped one.
We're talking about, all these incredible staff members that you're going to be hiring, and where do you start looking for them?
Where, oh, where indeed.
Where, oh, where has my little staff member gone?
Don't start singing, Aileen.
You're just always holding me back. Somebody please give me a karaoke night.
She loves to sing. So schools, I think, are the best place to find new staff. My own business, we have not hired outside of, when I say outside, we haven't hired from another salon unless it's somebody relocating into the city from another city. I like to go to the schools, and we like to train them in our career path, in the way we do things. So we get fresh blood.
Yeah, well, you can see I'm so anxious.
I know.
I got to say my mantra now.
She wants to jump in. She wants to jump in. So,
well, because like you summed it up, we really believe that you train a star or you make a star rather than hire a star, because rather than hiring service providers who are coming from another business or whatever, perhaps they've brought their own baggage and their own bad habits or whatever. Instead, you can nurture someone along and teach them all the great habits that you want your own particular people to have.
Yeah.
I think the only time that you really want to hire, an experienced stylist is if they're moving from out of town.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of my mandate. And it's so interesting because this morning I was on a coaching call with a client, and she was talking about finding a part-time front desk person. And my suggestion was to go to the beauty schools and find somebody that was going to school that needed a part-time job and hire them. And then they could fill in part-time front desk, and they could probably stay at the front desk for a number of months, even after you take them on as a stylist or an esthetician, because they make really good front desk fill-in part-time people.
For sure. And I think one of the most important things for me when I hear that is that when someone is working behind the front desk, they learn all the ins and outs of the business. They learn how to book clients. They learn how to talk to clients. They learn how to rebook clients. They learn how to offer referrals and upsell retail. So they'll take all that language that they learn at the front desk and use it behind the chair or in the aesthetics room.
Absolutely. It's a win-win. So schools. For me, that's ultimately the place that I like to go. I like to go into schools. We go in, we offer, we do talks on the business of being in the beauty industry. We develop relationships with the schools so that now they send us people, you know. It just is one of those places. They know that we have a training program, and they send us people.
I'm actually always amazed when we're out talking to business owners, and they ask us, we're looking for staff. Do you know anybody who needs a position? And I said, well, have you gone into the schools? And I cannot believe that the majority of salon owners who are looking for stylists or estheticians have not gone into the schools to talk to the instructors or the school owners or even volunteer their time, because I think volunteering your time at a school is one of the best ways to develop a relationship with the up and coming service providers that are coming out into your area.
Absolutely.
And I mean, often all you have to do is maybe, once a month or whatever, give an hour or two of your time and go in and offer to teach a haircut, offer to do a color class, offer to do anything. But that way you get to start a dialogue with the class and find out, well, who are the great kids that are coming into this business?
Yeah.
And you get first dibs at it because you start to mentor them, and that's who they look for. It's got to be. It's just such a win-win.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, one of the things we do is we go in and either have a blow dryer or a pedicure, and we get to check out the students firsthand when they're working. And it's not necessarily the one that appears to be the rock star. It's sometimes the person that you look around, hire for personality. If I could say this 1,000 times, I would keep repeating it. That would be my mantra.
There's your
hire for personality. We can train for skill.
So true. Absolutely.
So want ads. Okay, Aileen, I'll let you do this one, because I'm telling you, we hate the want ads that we see out there.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
do we hate them?
Well, because usually they say stylist needed, clientele wanted. So stylist was clientele wanted. Something along that line. And it absolutely irritates the heck out of me, because basically what you are saying is that you are looking for another business's clientele. You're really stealing from another business when you ask a stylist to come in and bring their own clientele. Yes, it's true when a stylist goes from one salon to another. Sometimes their clients go with them. Sometimes they don't, but it's no guarantee. The thing is if you're looking for a stylist or an esthetician who has clientele, you're stealing.
Yeah, you're stealing from another salon owner. And trust me, it'll happen to you.
It's right, because karma's a bitch.
Yep.
And if someone comes into your salon bringing clientele, believe me, they're going to leave and want to take clientele with them as well. So it doesn't make us happy. We're not fussy about want ads. And again, like if you're putting out want ads, you've gotten to the point where perhaps you're desperate. So,
Well, and it does happen, but I mean, you just need someone.
Right. Instead, what our recommendation is, if you're going to go to a want ad, go back to that prior slide and sell yourself. Why would someone want to come and work for you? That's what you want to put in a want ad, is why someone would want to come and work for you. Okay? So really think about what you're going to put out there.
And I mean, really, the new way these days, it seems to be Facebook, Twitter, Craigslist, and all the other social sites.
Yeah.
People are on it. That's where the chatter is. And so, but you really need to make up a catchy ad that would get someone's attention.
Exactly. Sell yourself. Right. Sell your business.
And then referrals.
I really believe in referrals because every single client who sits in any chair or treatment room knows somebody who in the business. So you ask them, say, listen, as a matter of fact, our salon is looking for new staff or et cetera, et cetera. Do you know anybody? And I think you might be surprised at how referrals go.
Yeah, it's always interesting. You never know. 6 degrees of separation.
Exactly. In the end, the most important thing is,
my favorite. Hire slowly, fire fast.
And let's start with the last part first.
Well, maybe if we hired more slowly, we wouldn't have to fire fast. But what I find is it's the opposite way around. Most people hire really fast and then fire really slowly. But it's in the latter that all the damage is done.
Exactly. So if you've got a problem service provider or staff member, you need to release them as soon as you can. Here in where we are, there is I think it's a 90-day probationary period that you can let go of an employee without any problems, without sort of what's the word I want, without a reason.
Yeah.
And then after the 90 days, you've got a huge.
Well, it becomes a much more difficult process. So I think the biggest part of that is, we all hate to fire people. I don't like it, because when we hire somebody, we take them in. However, there are just some people who will never fit into your organization. And if you don't get them out the door, they sometimes take other people with them.
Yes.
And please, if you have a problem, try and resolve it. If you can't resolve it, put a deadline on it and let them go.
Here. Okay, so let's go back to the first part of that, hire slowly. Here's the thing, Catherine, 3 different interviews.
Yeah, I believe in 3 interviews.
Here.
So there would be an initial interview.
Right. And
then next would come a technical interview. I can't tell you how many people hire without ever having done a technical interview. And I think even though I say personality, I think you have to have some understanding of where they're at before you turn them loose in your salon.
Yeah.
And then if they pass 1 and 2, then the final interview should happen. Usually between 1 and 2, we have something that I like to call volunteer day.
Lovely name. I like the volunteer idea.
Volunteer day. Yeah. One of my other coaching clients, she calls it a play day.
Oh, I like that even
play
better.
Day. Yeah. So basically, if a candidate has successfully gone through stage 1 and 2, we ask them to come in for a play day or a volunteer day. Half a day or a full day, whatever they can spare. Excuse me. It's not paid. That's why we call it volunteer.
Or play.
And that lets you see if someone has the willingness to put themselves out to go one step further. And I will tell you that these are crucial because it's often in these volunteer days that we make that final decision. And it's often because of the feedback from our staff.
Here, because they have an opportunity to, check out the personality of the person, see how they fit in with clients, how they interact with other staff members. And it's amazing how you could, nip a poor choice in the bud or recognize a potential star just by having a play date with them.
And I mean, it's, oftentimes how they are in the interview with the owner or the manager is very different than they are out on the floor with the staff.
Here, oh yeah, is it ever?
Completely
because,
different face.
Let's face it, when you're looking for a job, you're out to impress the boss, right?
Yes, you are.
But when you're on the floor, it's a totally different kettle of fish.
Yeah. So if they make it through the volunteer day, Then
you get to do the final interview.
yeah.
Catherine and I really believe that an application form is really important. Yes, we know that most people looking for an interview have a resume on hand or a CV, but an application form tells you so much about the personality of the person who is coming in to find a job with you. So here are the things that you really sort of want to take a look at on their application form. Is it tidy?
Right.
And why is that important?
I think it just shows that they take care.
Here, exactly. Is it organized?
Well, that again gives you a glimpse into their personality.
Yeah. What was their body language when filling it out? I know that probably sounds like a bit of a strange question, but you can tell a lot about people by the way they...
By their body language.
By their body language, by the way they sit, by the way they even hold a pencil. I mean, it's...
Well, I believe actions speak louder than words, and I think body language speaks volumes.
Yes.
I think you can always kind of judge someone by the way they hold themselves and what their body is telling you.
For sure. And take a physical inventory of their appearance.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times somebody has walked into my own salon with a resume in hand and they have looked like a dog's breakfast. Why, oh, why would I ever want to hire them? I always say, do you not realize we are in the beauty industry? The beauty industry. If you want me to hire you, you should walk in looking like $1 million.
You should look like you are beautiful. And I don't mean, you have to be beautiful, but I mean your appearance has to be a reflection of what you want your clients to look like. I guess it's one of the things that you and I talk about a lot, Catherine, because we are in so many salons, is the lack of professional appearance by an inordinate amount of our service providers.
Right. And I just always go back to, we are in the business of beauty. If you don't look good, talk to your client to say that you can make them look good.
For sure. Or
if you don't take care of your own appearance, your clients are not going to think you're going to take care with them.
Absolutely. If you're a colorist and you're not using hair color yourself, to me it's just not right.
Yeah. But, everybody has their own opinion, but that's a strong one in our book for sure.
Yeah.
So, and I just want you to remember,
hiring someone is like getting married. What you see is
what you get. It is not likely to change because people are on their best behavior when they come in for an interview or when they're first around you. Honestly, you must remember that what you see is what you get.
Exactly. And one thing to do is that when you're doing the interview process, it's really important that you, thanks, go to the next one, Kath, is listen more than you talk. It's great to share stories of your salon history and tell them about your salon or whatever, but really the process of the interview is to find out about the service provider or the staff member who is applying for a position. You're going to sell the salon or your business after you've brought out the personality to this person. Because first of all, you want to know, do I even want to sell my business to this person? So listen more than you talk. And here's some of the questions that Catherine and I really believe that help you determine a little bit more about this person. We like to call them descriptive questions or open-ended questions because they ask somebody to be more descriptive. So
expand on what it is who they are.
Exactly. So tell me why you would like to work in the salon.
Or tell me what you liked. Yeah, tell me why you would like to work in the salon.
And one of the things I think is really important about this question is that it will also tell you, did your applicant do some due diligence to find out a little bit about your business before they came in? Or are they just handing out resumes to anybody in town? Right. Because perhaps if they've done their due diligence, They will have checked out your website. Perhaps they've done a pre-visit to the salon to find out a little bit more about it. They might know they'll probably already know what, say, color line you're working with or what product line.
And I call them keeners.
Yeah, exactly.
I like keeners.
I like keeners too. We all like keeners because it shows that they're really focused on moving forward. So that's one of the things that you want to ask them is, tell me why you'd like to work in this salon.
Yeah. And, I also like to ask a couple of different, these are actually two separate questions. I just linked them together here. Tell me what you liked about your last place of employment, and then what did you dislike about your last place of employment? Because that, again, can answer a lot of different questions for you. And I always find it interesting because some of them have, answers right off the top of their head. Some of them really have to think about it. But then just sit back and wait till the answer. When we talk about listen more than you talk, once you've asked your questions, sit back and just
let them talk.
Yeah. Wait until they come up with an answer.
Right.
So again, tell me what your strengths and weaknesses are.
By the way, just to go back on the last place of employment, if it's a newbie coming into the industry, instead of place of employment, get them to talk about their school or their training or whatever. Just use that instead of a business. For sure. Okay.
And just know that, these few questions we're giving you here are just a small percentage of the questions that you can have. In fact, we have a booklet, and it's called
Secrets of the Perfect Interview.
Yeah, Secrets of the Perfect Interview. And for anybody listening to this webinar, if you would like a copy, please just feel free to email us. Our email address will be on the last slide of the presentation.
Exactly, and we'll send you a copy because hiring people is the most important part of your job that you can do. Next questions on this list are describe what your life looks like in 3 years. So if someone tells you, well, I'm hoping to save up enough money to, go traveling. I met a lovely young man this weekend, and he's about to turn 30, and his goal was to visit 50 countries before he's 30. And he's done that. And I think that is absolutely incredible. But what does that also tell you?
It tells me I really wouldn't want him as an employee
right now
because I would be putting a lot of money into training him, and he's liable to take off and want to go traveling.
Exactly. And training an employee to fit into your business is a big investment.
Yeah.
So it's really important to figure out, what are they thinking of? If they're saying, well, gee, I really want to own a house or a condo or a car or whatever, you know that they're looking at creating more stability in their life.
Yeah.
So not that traveling isn't stable, don't get me wrong, just in case my children are listening.
Yeah, but if they want to take 4 months a year off, it might be a bit of a problem because,
exactly.
It's expensive to train someone, and you want at least some form of, you want to be guaranteed some time.
Exactly. We often have some business owners who will even go so far as to have contracts in place for their, so that they're getting a commitment because of the cost of training employees. They want to have a contract to say, I'm going to commit to working here for such and such a length of time.
Yeah, and you can check all of that out.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the big ones is tell me how you're going to build your clientele here.
For sure. As we said earlier, we're not expecting that stylists are going to bring clientele into the salon or estheticians bring their clientele, but they are part of the business building procedure.
Absolutely. I believe that as an owner, it's my responsibility to bring the clients into the salon. I believe it's their responsibility to retain the clients. So again, retention is all about making sure that you're pre-booking your clients, making sure that you're asking for referrals to help build your client base, referrals from your existing clients, the client experience. So I just want them to tell me what their part in that should look like.
Well, and also I think it helps to determine where that service provider might be in their business development. Because, you know, do they even have a clue that they are part of that process? Or is this like, oh, aren't you just going to give me people to, you know? So, you know, it helps you determine where are they in their business development. Not saying don't hire them. We're just saying that you're going to know what you're going to have to do to train them to get to become the type of service provider that you're looking for.
Yes, you are. And this is the truth. I quote this on a regular basis. Everyone has the potential to be a great employee. However, not everyone has the willingness. So I hear salon owners tell me all the time, but they have so much potential. And my comeback is always, but do they have the willingness? Because you can put in as much time as you want with this employee who has all this potential. But if they don't have the willingness to step outside their own comfort zone and their own box, you may as well go bang your head against the wall.
For sure. And what we like to say is are they willing to put the potent into potential?
Ah, there you go, Aileen. That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. And so essentially, in a nutshell, those are some of the secrets for hiring great employees and giving good interviews.
Exactly. And really take some of this advice to heart and really seriously think about the where you're going to find your employees. And if you do all of these steps, you will probably never have to really worry about where your next employee is going to be coming from, because you're always going to be in hiring mode. Every time that somebody comes in with a resume or asks for a job, you're going to interview them.
Yeah, and please, because we hear this all the time. We've heard this many times from people that have gone in for interviews into salons, and they just never hear from them again.
Yeah.
Have a form letter that you send out, either congratulating them, you're offering them the position, or saying, at this point you don't have the position for them, but you will keep their resume on file, because sometimes you can go back to that file of resumes and make some notes and, call people or send them out an email, and you never know. You may blend together much better.
Well, for sure. And here's the thing too, is that, say you interview somebody and then 6 months later, a staff member leaves and all of a sudden you've got a hole, and you send out, you phone up or you send out an email to this person that you interviewed 6 months earlier. And perhaps that person really has their eye on your business. They may still be really interested in coming to work for you. So it's really important that you stay in contact. But if they are not on your radar, let them know. Let them know.
Yes,
be kind.
Yeah, to me, it really is just all about good manners.
Here.
Good business manners.
Yes, exactly.
So, and again, here we are. We're the Profitable Salon Owner. You can see us, reach us at www.theprofitablesalonowner.com. Or you can email us at info@theprofitablesalonowner@gmail.com. And if you like to...
actually, Kath, that's the wrong...
Oh, did I put...
Yeah.
I put the wrong email address.
You did. It's info@theprofitablesalonowner.com.
Oh!
No, at Gmail.
I was having...
a blonde moment
when I did that, yeah.
And listen, please come on board to the website, and you'll find a place where you can actually sign up. We put out a weekly newsletter that is filled with tips and tricks and interesting information for the beauty industry, and we would love to have you aboard. And as we said earlier, if you send us an email to info@theprofitablesalonowner.com, we will send you a copy of the perfect interview, the secrets of the perfect interview.
Yeah, I think it's a 12-page booklet, and it has many more questions than we talked about today.
Yeah.
So anyway,
thank you all so much for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the third Monday in July, and we'll talk soon. And don't forget to stay in contact. Take care.
Have a great week.
Thanks, Susie.